how can professional women prioritize their romantic lives without feeling like they're sacrificing their career goals?
Mm, yes.
Make
So
the math is what he's saying.
I get so I hear this a lot, almost all the time, right?
Hmm.
So I have clients who are directors, vice presidents, CEOs, doctors, attorneys, entrepreneurs, million-dollar businesses, et cetera, et cetera. And almost always, inevitably, I don't have time comes up. And
Hmm.
whether they're seeing me for relationship coaching or they're seeing me as an executive coach in that capacity, the first thing I do is I say, okay, well, if you don't have time, let's start with a time audit. So I want you to track everything that you do over the next couple of days. There's a whole log sheet and everything. It's pretty tedious, but once you get into the flow, it's like a food journal.
Hmm.
Yes.
So once you do that time audit, I'm gonna tell you right now, every single time they've come back for our next session, they said, so I probably didn't have to do that 4 hour Netflix binge. I I was on TikTok for about 2.5 hours.
Yep.
I kind of just sat and did whatever, right? So the time is actually there, right? It's almost always there. And so I would then kick it back and say, now you would not be in the position that you are in your job if you did not have some level of mastery over your time, right? So
Hmm.
address this relationship that you seek as if you would at work. You make time for it, you schedule it, you put it on your calendar. And
Hmm.
that might sound a little too methodical, but you know, busy people, couples, my husband and I do it. You put things on the calendar,
Right.
date night.
Hmm.
You put on a calendar and say, okay, this is when I'm gonna call such and such back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hmm.
You can go so far as to do it. And what I always say is that if this is really a priority for you, and if you're talking to me and investing in this, then it is a priority,
Hmm.
then treat it as such and
Yeah.
invest in the time and the tools that you have because you know I love my data, I love my
Hmm.
statistics. Um, Married people are wealthier, married people are
Hmm.
happier, married people are healthier.
Yep.
So the reality is that as if you're a professional woman, you're busy, you say you don't have time. Think about the fact that generally speaking, married people have a net worth 9 times higher than their single counterparts.
Hmm.
So if the math is feeling like it's not mathing, it starts to math when you just run the numbers, even in a way when you just think about money and health and overall happiness. And so if this is truly a priority, then that's how you're going to treat it. Another tip that I always offer is outsource where you can and where you can afford.
Woo.
Instacart for groceries,
Yeah.
Thumbtack to hire a housekeeper or whomever to help.
Hmm.
A meal prep delivery service. So I sometimes travel for work, and a couple months ago, I was traveling every single week. I had to think to myself, okay, do I want to spend my time meal prepping and cooking every single day to try to get things together? Do I
Hmm.
want to order in and kind of be concerned about, you know, what's in the food and how expensive it is? Or will I do Factor 75, which me and my husband both love, and prioritize the time that I want to spend with my husband and with my friends? And I chose option number three.
I
So
love it.
outsource where you can so you can focus on the things that are really important to you.
I love
And
that.
the last piece is I already said it, or I said it, but you really have to prioritize your mindset.
Hmm.
Dating is, I like to call it the happiness investment. So if you are saying to yourself, all right, the career, I've knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
The dating part, I could do some work.
Hmm.
Then in your mind, that's the priority. It might be controversial to say. I know we live in a modern society where women can do anything, but sometimes it is okay to deprioritize some things and prioritize other aspects as well.
Love it.
Life is a balancing act, and it is okay if you are not trying to be the next CEO at this period in your life, and you're
I
choosing
love
instead
it.
to be CEO of your dating journey.
I just love you. I
Because
just
you can have it all, just not at one time.
Exactly,
You know.
exactly.
no, but you can, what she just said is you can have it all at one time. You
Mm.
just
In
have to prioritize, to
That's
be
all.
honest. What she
Mm.
just said was you can have it all.
Mm.
It's what all do you want to have, right? So if you want the relationship, you want the career,
hmm
then maybe it's not doing dinner and washing dishes and doing laundry. You outsource those things
Yep.
so that you can spend time where you really hold value, which is in your relationship connections.
Right.
And I saw a video where this gentleman stated that as we mature,
hmm
things and all of that becomes lower on the totem pole of
That's right.
priority. And your
That's right.
action, and for the mature, he said that relationships literally become number one. Like when you reached a point where
Yep.
this doesn't mean money ain't important, y'all, because y'all gonna freak out. That's not what we saying. We're not telling you to be homeless and in love. I'm anti
Nope.
that. But what we're saying is you began to manage differently your time and what you're investing. So what you're speaking to even right now, like I am like the person where I absolutely prioritize relationship. I'm dating. And with that being said, like I've run into men who are just like what you stated, super busy, don't evaluate their time. And look, and believe it or not, like, so I'm dating as in, I'm on the search. Well, one of the guys I dated prior, literally we spoke today, and he said, because he's always saying he's too busy. And I said, well, because you're saying this, me removing myself is respecting the fact that you're not creating the space to just get to know and build. This isn't marry you tomorrow. And that's what some people don't recognize is because you're making something a priority, it doesn't mean it's so let me say it like this. I teach my kiddos and I teach my clients prioritizing means you're juggling multiple important things.
Yes.
There are multiple important things, and you're having to say this important thing is going to become number one today or in this moment, and then this important, and you move that accordingly. And so anyhow,
exactly,
to your point, like I'm the person who I definitely value relationship, and I love, man, my God, today I'm about to use that deprioritize. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in this place of deprioritizing. Like, and I really am. Like, I literally have, I've talked to Sean, is like my brother from another mother. I've talked to Sean about a lot of things, and I've told him, like, for one, my personal reality is, yes, relationships have always been major. I've known Sean for like years. Like, relationships matter to me. But the more, like, of course, like life happens, the days go by, I really am looking forward to just being around the people, like the people I like, love, care for, love me back, all the things. So I've deprioritized some things. I was telling Sean, I was like, I don't know if I want to continue to coach. I don't know if I want to continue to do content. I don't know if I want to do this stuff, because I really want to make sure that I'm making the time to be there for my daughter, who's also in sports. This is my last kid who's at home, the last of the Mohicans, and I want relationship. I want my husband, and I'm old school, Adriana. So I'm like, my husband matters. I want to make sure my man is taken care of and he's good and supported. And I will deprioritize a whole bunch of stuff to make sure I'm not going to be homeless and in love, but I'm going to deprioritize some things to make sure, I'm creating this space for you. And even if you have way more on your plate than me, the goal is for me to help, mitigate some of those, distractions by taking some of the things off your plate. So that's why I'm deprioritizing certain things. But I just love that word now. I'm about to overuse it. The way y'all using narcissists, I'm about to use deprioritize. Because I can't stand y'all overusing narcissists, but I'm definitely about to use deprioritize, because there is a place for that. You know what I'm saying?
There is.
I love you. I just want you to know
that. I appreciate that. And I want to say one thing to just double tap on what you said, right? Which is you have to create the space, right? And creating space sometimes is very uncomfortable. We're used to doing our own thing. We're in our own flow. We have busy schedules. We got brunch and trips. I mean, my life was extraordinarily full and beautiful, and I loved it. But I also recognized I need to create space for me. We talk about being the whole woman, right? I need to create space so that when I meet my husband, whoever this man is, he's going to think two things. Number one, what must I do, Lord, to be able to marry this woman because she's so amazing? And two, the space is there, right? The time that I have, the space in my heart, the emotional availability, the physical and actual availability, it's all there already. It's not a hey, get in where you fit in. Like I've had some clients say, well, he got to get in where he fit in. Well,
that's right. And I hear you, because I hit up Q not too long ago. I'm like, hey, you gonna come co-host the show with me? Come co-host this show with me. And putting some more stuff on her plate.
I know.
So it's all good though.
But the
You're
thing is,
prioritizing it.
yeah, but the thing
Mm-hmm.
is that, even with this, like I value being able to have this space
Mm-hmm.
and knowing what this looks like. So I told him, I said, right now, we can co-host every Wednesday. I got you.
Mhm.
Tuesdays, because we have shows on Tuesday, but I told him Tuesday are definitely going to vary because the kid plays basketball.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to be there for her. I don't want to be rushing. I did all of that, by the way. All that rushing, having your calendar packed to the minute, 5 minutes in between the next to do, just having travel time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, girl, catch me in a car because I got 30 minutes before I get
Yep.
to the next place. I did that. I did that for years. I did ministry for years. I
Mm-hmm.
did youth ministry, women's ministry. I did all the things. Plus, I've been, I was full-time coach and speaker for years. So I was literally having, this conversation with one of my best friends, which is my sister.
Mhm.
And I said, she was like, hey, so I think you could do this. And she was giving me a process on doing either coaching, speaking, and content every single day. I said, I don't. She said, wait, you don't want to do that, do you? I said, I don't.
Yeah.
Not anymore. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to cook dinners and make some of these meals on my TikToks that I say, okay, for my man.
That's funny.
That's what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get to the TikTok. And so I'm
Uh-huh.
making them for my daughter for now. I make them for my, son. I make when I visit him or whatever. But I'm saying that's what I want to do with my time. So with him,
Yeah.
with Sean, I was like, Sean, I could do every Wednesday. That's a
Mhm.
clear cut where I'm investing my time. That doesn't now put me at overwhelmed. That doesn't put me at overbooked so that I still
Yeah.
can't have space. I just think people don't consider that making space like it's so
Yes.
important. So I just love you more because I believe exactly what you said. I'm like, I always say that. I want my man to be like, Dad, that favor you was talking about, God,
Mhm.
I got that thing with her. I got this. And
Mm-hmm.
then my woman has space for me. I'm not competing with
Yes.
all the things that she's got going on, her brunches, and I love you said your life was full. Life full over here.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Full. And I can make it full. I can make it even more full. But right now, I'm sitting at this, I'm flatlining at having space.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's where I flatlined at right now. I want to make sure that I have space. So if he needs me, if he wants to talk to me or whatever, that doesn't mean there aren't times that aren't good, but
Mhm.
there's more times that are good than not. There's
Yeah.
more times that than not that I am accessible. you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Of course.
So I just love, like I said, I just want y'all to know I'm done with the show.
I wanna
Cause system blessed me already. Okay. I don't know what y'all got, but system blessed me. She don't bless me.
I kind of want to shift just a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but I still have some more questions, and I still want to make sure we respect our time because we got another show after this. Q
Oh,
said she's
all
gonna be
right.
ready on Wednesdays, so we're gonna bring it on Wednesdays.
We're bringing it.
So, my wife and I created the intimacy card deck questions. So, if you haven't seen this or if you haven't got your deck, make sure you go to scarytoremarry.com. Intimacy card deck questions. My wife and I put our brains together, thinking about all
Love
the
it.
questions that we had, all the things that we've talked about.
Mm.
So, I know we have a lot of dating card games out here, but this is from a husband and wife who put the blood, sweat, and tears in. So, Audrina, I want to play this game with you real quick.
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna pull one card and we're
Should we
gonna
drum
use
roll?
cut. Okay. Who provided a safe space for your feelings in childhood?
First of all, great question. Love the concept. And I was literally just talking to my husband because we have those we have a similar kind of deck, but I was like, I kind of want something a little bit different.
Mm.
Um, who provided a safe space? Can you reread it?
hmm Who provided a safe space for your feelings in childhood?
For my feelings? I was a very deep feeling child, and I think I kept a lot of it hidden. I think that my mother provided probably most of it to the extent that she could.
hmm
Um, my godmother provided space for the stuff I didn't want to tell my mother about. So I think I was fully covered
Mm.
between the two. And I think on a sense of the feelings that I had about wanting to be really successful, about wanting to work really hard, that was where my father came in and was really good at. Like my father got me into swimming, and he got me into a space where it was okay for me to express negative feelings, anger sometimes, right? Um, yeah, that's a great question.
That is
That's
good.
no, that's beautiful because and we ask that question because a lot of times we get into relationships and we don't know
Yeah.
how to express ourselves in a healthy way, or at least feel like we're being heard. A lot of
Mm.
times we're being trained through our childhood. You know, I grew up in that era of children should be seen and not heard. So I struggle tremendously, and even
Yeah.
sometimes, even to this day, my wife will tell you she in the other room. I'm trying to get it together with my feelings. So that's
Hmm.
I think it's a question that's definitely worth asking on a date night. You find out
Yeah.
about that person when you know about their feelings because it's going to show up in your relationship.
Mm.
Correct.
Oh, hello.
Right. Yeah. So it's good to have that conversation.
Yeah.
So that way, at least we get it out there. And if you are struggling in that area, at least your spouse or your significant other can understand your backstory and say, you know what,
Yes,
still struggling in that area.
Yeah.
I can give them grace.
exactly.
So
I'm
that's
about to ask my husband that question later tonight. Thanks for that.